Yo, I'm gonna try and make this video as short and sweet as possible. I'm actually in COVID, whatever the frick, COVID isolation, not because I got COVID, but anyways, this video is going to be basically a year in review video of Boston University. I made the semester in review video that is kind of semester in review, but not really. It's kind of just for fun, but this is like a very serious, unedited, just straight up, this is what I think. How do I even start? There's a lot to say, and I've tried to make this video a few times before, but I think this is the best time for me to do it. I only have about 2 weeks left of classes. My main grades are now just going to be finals, essentially. And I'm reaching the home stretch, and I'm not staying here for 2 reasons. One, I got into the Air Force Academy, and 2, even if I didn't get into the Air Force Academy, I'd be leaving the school anyways. So I'm gonna go through a quick timeline as fast as I can of the past semester, and I think it can help you decide if you want to go to this school or not, if you're applying or if you already applied, because this video is kind of coming out after the deadlines. But if you plan on applying to the school, make sure to watch this video to its full extent, because I think I have one of the worst experiences, and I think a lot of people have good ones, a lot of people have neutral ones, but not as many people have as negative ones as I had. In my opinion, I do know some people that have had worse that are close to me from this school, but I think I'm just a good example on what you should do when applying to schools. So, and I'll make a video about college stuff in the future, probably. I don't really know how interested I am in that stuff, but basically I applied to a bunch of schools, got into a good amount of them, decided that this one was for some reason the best choice, and I don't know if it was. It's most expensive, that's for sure, and yeah, not a lot of people agreed with this decision, but I went with my gut, felt something on the inside, decided to go with it. And do I regret it? No, not at all, but it was a very big learning experience, and I've never broken down until I came here. So a lot of people have really bad and rough college experiences from the start. I think mine was really heightened, and basically everything bad that could happen essentially happened. So things could have been worse though. Anyways, here we go. So hopefully another video will be out about college advice or whatever the frick. I don't know if I'm the best person to talk about that, but maybe. But anyways, came here, started off with 18 credits and finished 18 credits. So I took Russian, computer science, biology, and chemistry with lab, alongside Air Force ROTC, which, by the way, I love the Air Force ROTC Detachment 355, home to BU students, Boston College, Northeastern, Wentworth, UMass Boston, Brandeis. Really good detachment, honestly. It is a reason why it's one of the top performing in the nation. It's awesome, loved it. Anyways, back to academics, really freaking hard. People talk a lot about the grade deflation here. I think it's definitely to an extent a thing. I do kind of blame myself in part for a lot of the stuff, but not because of me being lazy, just being overworked and not having enough time to do everything. With that being said, 18 credits is a lot, especially with somebody who just got out of COVID, and although did all his work, 18 credits back in person at a very rigorous institution is going to be really hard. So yeah, first chemistry quiz, got a 49. That was just terrible. I thought I actually did a really good job on it. Same with my first CS exam, I got like a 47. Thought I actually did a good job on that one too. And those are just the exams. I got a 60 on my bio exam. I barely passed my Russian tests. It was really hard, and I put a lot of effort into these classes as much as I could, and I would spend a lot of time on top of doing all the Air Force ROTC stuff. And I killed my schedule with Air Force ROTC. I maxed out all of my time. Like, everything I did was Air Force ROTC if I wasn't doing school, and I slept for an average of 4 to 5 and sometimes 6 hours a night during the first semester, and that's really hard to do over time. Did 2 candidacy sessions. One is Arnold Air Society, which you may know of, and another one is a special operations related one that is only really done at BU Det 355. Yeah, those were my Saturdays and Sundays, and then I would squeeze in the CS problem sets, try and knock them out in under 48 hours, and man, those were hard. On top of that, I had to do the chemistry lab reports, which literally didn't align at all with what we were learning in chemistry. all you gotta know is if you're gonna come here and you're gonna do chemistry, love Professor Abrams. I know Professor Shepard has improved. I'm not here to criticize him. I'm here to criticize BU's faulty decision making when choosing a professor very soon into the upcoming year and not allocate enough time to prepare for adjustments, as well as, we were essentially we were a research project for Professor Shepard on the lab format, and they changed it this following semester. I'll get into that in a second. But basically, lots and lots of work and barely enough time. So what did I do? Well, like I said, I sacrificed sleep, and that happened. Really bad grades, not the best grades. I got a 2.28 GPA without the Air Force ROTC credit. With that, I got an A in that, which was a 2.38 overall GPA, so not the best either way. On top of the bad grades, literally a week before finals, I got accused of academic misconduct in chemistry lab on the lab report, saying I basically plagiarized off of another person's lab who I didn't even know. And it was actually really depressing. I can have a whole video just about that entire experience. Long story short, that really just put a damp in my mood. It was really hard. Verdict, I didn't commit any academic misconduct because I didn't, and I'll get into that in another video. I think it's actually really interesting to talk about, but that experience on top of, just the general, grades are very difficult. It's a very difficult school. I don't know, people talk about the grade deflation. I think you will put in a lot of work here. I would say a lot more work than other places, especially if you're doing STEM and the grades, it's hard for a reason. They work you hard, but the school prepares you really well, and you do learn, and it's a valuable education. But don't go here if you're paying a lot of money. Just don't. That would be my very blunt and simple advice. But essentially, if you're not doing STEM, then I think the school's awesome. If you're doing STEM, really think about it, because the school burns you to the core, and that's with a bunch of schools around the nation. And of course, we're around a lot of high-performing schools, but it is very clear that BU was getting their butts worked, especially compared to the other schools in my detachments. And I would even say compared to Harvard. I don't know about MIT. MIT's definitely up there on lists, and you can just kind of tell they're working their freaking butts off too. And there's always those debates, it's kind of off topic, there's always those debates on, hey, maybe the Harvard kids, they're just really super high performing, that's why their grades are average higher. But if you look at trends throughout, the past 50 or so years, you can tell which schools have been increasing dramatically and giving more A's and B's for that matter. And are students really getting smarter, or is the grading system getting easier? So there's a whole discussion you can have about that. But you look at BUs and it's not going down, but it's not going up at nearly the rate it is around other prestigious institutions that it could be related to all the time in students' college decision-making process. But oh yeah, that was a mouthful. Anyways, so that was a really rough first semester, and I really never felt so down. I didn't think I would be able to get into the academy because of all this stuff. And the winter break was terrible because I was dealing with this academic misconduct. I got accused in early December for a lab I did late November, all the way until, this process lasted until February, so it was ridiculous. And I can go into detail. That would be a whole nother video. But it was a really rough time for me. I contemplated dropping out over winter break. But I loved Air Force ROTC, and it was really the only reason why I could push through. Air Force ROTC has been a blessing for me, and I love it so much. It is awesome. Find a group of people you enjoy and grow with them, especially in college, because you really need it. This past semester I started with 4 classes as well. I dropped the bio major. I did 2 CS classes, and then I did Russian and English. Well, did a really bad job. I got a 49 on my first Russian test. I was like, I'm overwhelming myself. Sorry, I talked a little too fast there. I got a 49 on my first Russian test, and I decided that I need to drop a class. I can't handle everything I'm trying to do. I'm creating this convention. I just got a part of this cool Space Force club called I-5 and doing all this stuff. I can't do all this, and I decided to drop one of the CS classes. It's CS 131 that I dropped, and if you know about that class at BU, it's depressing, probably one of the worst that people experience here. But that's for another video as well. I dropped the class. I'm taking 3. I'm doing okay, but still, it's really difficult. It's really difficult. and it's a lot of work. It's really a lot of work. Air Force ROTC and the academics here at BU, they're very difficult. And what I want to say, if you're applying to BU and you decide to go, especially if you're doing a STEM major, be prepared to do a ton of work, okay? And that's to say about any really high tier school. They're gonna put you through a lot, and you're gonna see people who may have college be a breeze for them. And I see that a lot for people around me too, but then I realize I'm doing Air Force ROTC, and I'm doing this thing that takes up a lot of my time, and I'm very invested into it. And I manage the time as best as I can, but I understand that I'm doing a lot, and these kids may only be focusing on academics when I'm focusing on academics and other things. It's like if you're doing a bunch of sports in high school or a bunch of clubs, it's hard, and in college it's only exemplified more because, you know, although you have this new responsibility, it's you got to realize that you only have so much time, and you don't want to waste it. And I can have stories on I have a bunch of college. I have a ton for the past year of college stories I'd love to talk about, but I want to keep this video as short and sweet and as to the point as possible. Do I regret going to BU? No. And that's only because of the Air Force ROTC. But I was feeling really low for a long time, and the majority of the time I've been here. Even after I got to the academy, it's still, I would say that's, you know, there's been a lot of obstacles, and there still has been an increased amount of obstacles. But it's coming to an end, and what I would say is if you apply here, I think way more people applied than even my year, which was astronomically record-breaking, and now I think the acceptance rate is down to 14. That's ridiculous. That's almost the academies. They might actually be the same, but like, that's, you know, BU is going to continue to be a school that's thriving, and it produces a lot of excellent individuals, as many other schools do. But it's serious here, and I honestly think it is the hardest. It is the toughest school to get an A at. I really do believe that, and I only have this as an example, so who knows, maybe I won't get scared away from taking a chemistry class again, because I am a little scared to do so. But hey, who knows? I'll have a comparison at the academy and see how that is, but yes. Advice. I applied to a ton of schools. Don't do that. Apply to some. Apply to ones that you actually want to go to. Choose 2 safety schools. But at the same time, if you have a fee waiver or whatever, apply to as many as you want. But if you're paying money like I had to, I paid a couple $1,000. Just think about how much you really want to go to a certain school, and don't apply to it just because you want to. But of course, if you, like I did, can create the time to I spent all of August just writing college essays. If you can do that, then I would highly support it and apply to as many as you want, because you never know what a school could do, and you never know what an essay prompt could enlighten you to creatively. That, you know, at least for me, was I applied to a school I didn't want to go to. They had a great essay prompt, and it became the main essay for most of my college essays. So yeah. Anyways, more BU specific. Food here is awesome. I love the dining hall here. It's like amazing. Teachers are overall good. I would say that yeah, I've only had one bad experience, which was the professor from Chem Lab. But other than that, if you decide to go here, it goes by really fast, honestly, and that's because I was just dead busy. But I don't know how direct this was. This was mainly just my experience in a year in review. Not really a why you should or why you shouldn't apply. But it was really, really hard for me, and it was a really life-changing experience, and I hope to go more detail into it. But long story short, I'm still wondering if I'm gonna pass on my classes, and I need to, obviously, for the academy, but it's really hard here, and you can't slack off, and they hit you to the bone. The breaks are always at a weird time and not with all your friends at other schools, so that's been fun. But yeah, I think I hit everything. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more videos on the channel, especially with my huge life transitions moving forward, and don't worry about the COVID. I actually don't feel that bad at all. And for those of you who just got into schools or whatever, which you probably made your decisions by now, congratulations. It's like May now. If you're applying this upcoming year, I really wish you the best. Well, I don't really believe in luck, but I wish that you have the best of best of experience. I think that's the most important thing. I had a great experience, so I hope you do too. Stay tuned for more videos. Peace out. Just looking over this video, I just left one thing out. Not in this video, but I think what also defines my experience as one of the more worst ones was some of the personal things that not necessarily I went through, but people around me went through that I think affected me. But college is gonna have its experiences, and just be prepared for things like that. Be prepared for a lot of new experiences when you get to a place like this where you're gonna be filled with tons of different types of people. Just be prepared for anything. And I'll get more into that in another video.